So, hello again, Chuck. Thank you for being with us.
Hello, Betty. Good to see you.
Good to see you in this fresh Hawaiian morning.
It is. It's a beautiful morning out there.
Yeah, I guess so. Today we said we would go and talk about health because there's an apprenticeship live in Hawaii coming up again, and it's called the Restoration of Health,
Hmm.
which is, yeah, I mean, if you're having health issues, it's the most important theme, of course, and I guess it's one of the most important themes worldwide. Um, so, how come? Maybe the first question that we are having health issues. How come? Is it a physical thing? Is it just the body that's not functioning? Why are we reaching those levels that we are having maybe chronic diseases or just little issues?
Hmm. Um, what got me interested in health issues was in the late 70s. I had a friend of mine who was in her 70s, and she was a teacher and a metaphysical teacher. And she had inoperable cancer. She had a tumor that was the size of a rugby ball inside her. And so she asked me to work on her psychologically, and other people were doing spiritual energy with her, and she was doing health, she was watching what she ate, that kind of thing. Okay.
Mhm,
So, but I learned a lot. We were in one workshop together. Actually, it was a communications workshop, and the rugby ball shrunk to the size of a softball.
mhm,
And it did that within like 10 minutes in the space of a closed eye process.
mhm,
And what I learned, and you know, uh, went to lectures by different, people who were big in holistic health, Paul Brenner, Carl Symington, Brew Joy. And I began to learn that basically our body is neutral, as it says in A Course in Miracles. And we inflict on our body the conflicts of our mind. It's like in the old days in Europe. They would never hit a prince if he misbehaved, but they would have his best friend. And if the prince misbehaved, they would whip his best friend.
mhm.
And
Wow.
yeah, his friend was the whipping boy.
Yeah. Mhm,
That's what they called him. And our body's the same thing. It's our vehicle. It's our vehicle for learning. And so when something happens with the body, we're called upon to commit to healing whatever is the conflict inside, whatever is the learning inside, to commit to learning that.
mhm,
And I have found that there are things that are saved up. Basically all problems are from the past. This was a big thing in the 70s that because I'd be working on somebody's money problem and we'd end up talking about their childhood and
mhm,
something that happened to them. And as we cleared the childhood, they would take a giant step toward their purpose. So, one of the dynamics of health is that we are using it because we're afraid to take the next step.
mhm. Okay. Yeah. Makes
Mhm.
sense.
Then this physical issue delays us. Now, we use other things too.
Mhm.
We need fights with our partners. Nobody's ever done that, right? But no, and it's all about delay. We obsess about our relationships. That's another form of delay. And we're just frightened under under everything. There are like four major dynamics. One is you have a grievance with someone.
Mhm.
In other words, you can't have a problem unless you have a grievance with someone. Can you think of a little problem you have?
Mhm. Yeah.
Yeah. And underneath that problem, who's the grievance with?
My mom comes up. Mhm.
Uh-huh. And what's the issue about with your mom?
it feels like the way that the woman the way she behaved as a woman.
Mhm. Yeah. Now, and how did that affect you? Look around your life. How did that affect you?
In certain ways behaving like her
Hmm.
and learned from her.
Yeah, what percentage would you say that is?
80.
Yeah, no small amount, you
Yeah.
know. Things get passed on
Mhm.
from us to our kids to, you know. So, but feel into this. Didn't you come to save her from that?
Yes.
So, under the grievance,
Mhm.
there's always guilt.
Yeah.
So let's complete that. Let's imagine that you could ask that Mother Mary carry both you and your mother back to heaven's path and Holy Family bonding with her.
Yes. Um,
And what was the soul gift that you came to bring in, that you did bring in to save her from herself?
Divine femininity comes up.
Ooh.
It's nice.
And now, give that gift, however big or small you have it, give it back to God, as it says in A Course in Miracles, and it will be increased thousands of times, even 10,000 times. So go for the big one, go for 10,000 times.
Mhm.
And when it's increased that much, receive it back, the divine feminine, whoopee,
Sweet.
and share that with your mama.
Bursting love. My heart is opening and it's feeling love.
And share that to you as a little girl.
It's bringing a lot of freedom.
So this is, what we've come to learn, that, a grievance, if we see it in the right way, is indicating a mistake we made. We think, when we're angry at someone or hurt by someone, that it's a mistake they made. But if you go into the subconscious, it readily becomes, oopsie, it's a mistake I made. And that gives you the ability to change it. With
Mhm.
heaven's help, you can change anything.
Mhm.
And the thing about a health problem is, especially a chronic health problem, is it's so distracting. It's so obsessing
Mhm.
that we feel overwhelmed, we feel helpless. But that's not heaven's plan for us. Heaven's plan is always extending its hand.
Mhm.
And if we're extending our hand to heaven, then we see that hand being extended to us.
Yeah.
You know, um, can you think of a health problem you might have?
Yes, it just came up before we started. I was like, yeah, perfect.
You want to share it or not?
Yeah, it's I had it a lot of time. It has to do with femininity, bladder issues and
Uh-huh.
cramps somehow.
Uh-huh.
Mhm.
So this is your issue with the feminine. I can't tell you how many women I've worked with who had terrible cramps, menstrual cramps.
Yeah. Hmm.
And when we got into the subconscious, there was resistance or judgments about being a woman,
Hmm. Hmm.
and for many different reasons. Some for reasons of having been a victim for being a woman. Some was for being made to sacrifice for being a woman. Some, felt like the having menstrual cramps was an indictment against them.
Hmm. Hmm.
But typically it went back to some place beside the belief systems. It
Hmm.
went back to a place where something personal happened to them, where they felt they weren't valued as a woman.
Hmm.
No, it's like I've seen this so many times in Asia. where there was a girl baby, but she wasn't valued because she was a girl baby.
Mhm.
So as we go into this, so you don't feel welcomed, and then no matter what you do, there's a place of meaninglessness in your life because you weren't welcomed. But underneath it all, and I just dealt with this with someone from China yesterday. And but underneath it, you came to bring the welcome.
Mhm.
You came to bring the bonding and to show the power and the worth of the feminine. And it ended up in this celebration at the end of that session. And it's the same thing. It's like you weren't valued because you were a girl, but underneath it, you were the one who came to show the value
Mhm. Yeah.
of being a girl. I was working with one of my best students, and one of her grievances and heartbreaks was that she was a girl. So she wasn't noticed by her father, even though she was the alpha in the family, the bright, the hero, the heroine in the family.
Mhm. Mhm.
But I said to her, your father can't give you what he doesn't have.
Yeah, it's true.
How much did he recognize all that he was giving? She goes, not at all. And I said, who better to give it to him than his number one daughter?
Yeah.
And she got this big smile on her face. And she realized that instead of getting it from her father, she could give it to her father. And this reverses so many of the things we have because all of our problems, the root problem of everything is separation.
Mhm.
So, holy family bonding is one of the ways that heals that. Now, from separation comes grievances, comes authority conflict, um, comes attack thoughts, authority conflict. That's all, grievances, wounds,
Mhm. Mhm.
separation, leads to all of these things.
Mhm.
I've been recently working with my students to get them through their heartbreaks. Like I'll ask, like, Betty, how many heartbreaks do you have?
20 still?
So, how many heartbreaks have we healed over the years?
Uncountable, I guess.
Uncountable. But a heartbreak is a place that has created a pattern of being a victim.
Mm.
It's also created a pattern of defeat in your life.
Mhm.
And so, again, what I discovered in the 70s, all pain is from the past. If you are here and now, let's take one of the heartbreaks.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. Mhm.
So, do you want to say what that is?
It has to do with my dad, somehow with what you were saying, not recognizing me as the girl I came to be.
Uh-huh. So, one of the things that heals needs, because needs are impossible to heal, it's never enough. Because you'll then try to get that recognition at work.
Mhm.
Good luck.
Mhm.
You'll try to get that recognition from your partner. How's that working for you? Yeah. See, the pattern carries on. And since it's in the past, it's like, who knows how to go back to the past and heal that?
You.
Yeah, I do. But there's forgiveness to help you with nothing else. Okay. So, but here's another thing. What's the gift you had for your father? You wanted him to recognize you, but what gift did you bring for him?
What comes up is true bonding.
Mhm. So would you open up the true bonding that you have as a gift? And as it says in A Course in Miracles, if you give a gift back to God, he will increase it thousands of times, maybe even 10,000 times. So Get that gift of bonding and let it be increased 10,000 times. Then imagine giving it to yourself as a little girl and to your papa.
And it's sweet. It's like a flower giving to myself, and now give the flower to my dad.
Yeah.
This,
You receive it from heaven and then you can give it to your papa.
mhm. Sweet.
And now, for the first time, did he get recognized by his mother?
And no, it was not.
Yeah. And did your grandmother get recognized by your great grandfather? No. So these are patterns that are passed down until the buck stops with you.
Mhm.
And then you make the difference. And this giving is a giving forth, it's another form of forgiveness. But everything we're trying to get from the outside, we actually have it within us. We don't know it. It may be just like 1%, but that's all you need. It's like the flower growing up in the sidewalk. And then pretty soon you have a whole flower garden.
Yeah.
But that's one of the ways. I mean, there are many ways actually. So, how do things feel now?
Yeah, extremely good. I feel powerful because as a little girl, when I give him this gift, this giving feels so powerful. Yeah.
Yeah. In the Course in Miracles, it says it wants us to learn how to give like God gives. And at one point in the Course, it describes God as that which gives all to all. That means we welcome everyone.
Mhm.
And that's one of the signs of holiness is that you just welcome everyone. You judge no one because your judgment is also a way our ego uses to hide guilt. And when you have guilt, this is another main dynamic. One was fear, another one is guilt. When you have guilt, you seek to punish yourself.
Mhm.
So,
With health issues, for example.
with health issues, especially with
Mhm.
health issues,
Mhm.
because then also you're distracted. You're so into the symptom that you actually don't go for the root cause of it, which
Mhm.
is some kind of separation, some kind of grievance.
Mhm. Mhm.
So, but think of the thing that you most feel guilty about.
Mhm.
Mhm.
I can say that it's kind of not living or not coming to Earth and having lived my purpose and my gifts from the beginning.
And most people feel that unless you're feeling fulfilled. And this is a way to check in to see how much you're living your purpose. If you're 100% fulfilled, you're 100% living your purpose.
Yeah.
So, but God, who is love, who is oneness, is there any room for guilt? Did he create guilt? Does it really exist then? Or is it just one of those illusions in the world, in this case, by the ego, to keep you stuck? Guilt is like super glue, and you punish yourself. It's a monument to a mistake. And mistakes you can correct. So think of the thing you most feel guilty about in your life. The biggest guilt. How are you punishing yourself?
um, okay. Not reaching total happiness and then being in misery and in problems and all this.
Hmm.
Like a continuous punishment, yeah. For not
Okay.
saving,
And so what's the thing you're punishing yourself for?
not saving my brother.
Hmm. Yeah. And that's the biggest conspiracy, the family conspiracy. So there's so much guilt built up around our families. Most of us either run away and go independent, or we go into sacrifice, or but it doesn't get the family better, and
No.
we don't get better. But take this case
Mhm.
of not saving your brother to the Supreme Court. The Holy Spirit presides over the Supreme Court. In Asia, I usually have them have Kuan Yin preside or Buddha over their Supreme Court. Now, what does the Holy Spirit do with this case against yourself?
They are laughing.
They're laughing. Can you join in the laughter and just dissolve that whole thing? How much have you been trying to carry your brother on your back?
80 comes up and 800.
Hmm. So would you take your brother off your back and
Ah,
put it into the hands of, let's say, Mother Mary?
ah, I feel like a load of my shoulders falling away.
And how much more openness is there between you and your partner now?
100.
Yippee!
Ah, yeah, it feels light.
Now we hide catches of guilt about all kinds of things and we bury them. So they're a little more difficult to find. But let's say there was a shadow figure in your life, somebody who's just overreacting all the time. You wouldn't know anybody like that, would you?
Yeah, the clothes.
Okay. So here's a shadow figure.
Mhm.
Now, how many times have you overreacted like that in this life?
20,000.
Hmm. So, what we do with a shadow is we take our grievances against ourselves and we fragment that part of our mind and we then project it out on somebody. That's a shadow figure. But the ego who says, I can get rid of that for you, and you pin it on someone else, but it actually saves it. So you have this grievance against yourself about these 20,000 times you overreacted. How many times in past lives?
800,000 comes up.
And how many times being passed down through your family?
20 billion. It's a lot.
Yeah, that's a lot. And so every once in a while, there's still an eruption,
Mhm.
that still comes out and not only bites your ass, it bites your partner's ass. Right. And then you feel so remorseful, but remorseful is feeling sad and guilty at the same time.
Mhm,
So
mhm,
it just increases all of this in a vicious circle.
mhm,
Now, underneath your grievance
mhm.
towards yourself, it's like what I had mentioned earlier to you. Telling a woman to stay calm is like trying to baptize a cat. So, how much have you been telling yourself to stay calm?
800%. Oh, yeah. Busted.
So, how about if you ask Mary Magdalene, she was a live one, to
Mhm,
bring her oneness, she's reached oneness, to bring her oneness into your mind so that all the different fragments and all the different pieces can come together in wholeness. And how does that feel?
like puzzle pieces fitting
Mhm.
into each other. Yeah, and coming to wholeness, it feels whole actually. Yeah.
And you see that this woman who you projected this on is just calling for help.
Mhm.
And you can understand that having been in so many situations, even 20 billion passed down through the family. It's like, so But you could open up, you can ask for holy family bonding for both you and her and to thank her, feel gratitude. Thank you. I would have pretended this wasn't there ever. Yeah, because I'm such a peaceful woman.
Mhm. Good one. Yeah. Thanks.
Yeah, and then you just, offer her forgiveness if you're not going under the surface, just that, and you forgive her enough times that those 20 billion things get resolved, plus the others. But you also, beside asking that both of you be carried back to heaven's path, you have a gift for her. What's the soul gift you have for her and yourself?
Comfort.
Great.
Being,
Right up Mother Mary's alley.
being held.
So you give this gift to God and you receive it back 10,000 times. Comfort. It's a true gift of the feminine.
Mhm.
And then you can extend this to this other woman.
Mhm. That's sweet. Yeah.
Yeah, it gets to a point where you can see a problem outside you and offer the gift, multiplied already, increased already,
Mhm.
to help them
Mhm.
instead of judge them. Because when you judge them, you increase your guilt. I
Mhm.
mean, and how many times a day do you judge? Does anybody judge? Eh,
Multiple times.
Yeah, and that's why masters always watch their minds
Mhm.
for their thoughts. They know that what's happening out there is a result of what is in their thoughts, even if they've buried it really deep.
Mhm.
They take responsibility
Mhm.
and then they bring the gifts. And they have a gift for everything because they're working hand in hand with heaven. It's like you become part of Mother Mary's comfort,
Mhm.
part of Christ's love, part of Kuan Yin's compassion,
Mhm.
part of Buddha's laughter. And then that helps the world. Whereas judgment are attack thoughts. And Betty, how much would you say you attack yourself in any given day?
20% comes up
So how many would that be if you guessed?
every second hour. Or
And so you're attacking yourself like continuously,
Mhm.
but your self attack adds to attack on others. So you're attacking yourself every other second. So how much attack goes to your partner?
Every other second.
Entschuldigung, komenes, as we say in Japan, Dibuji, as we say in China. I'm so fucking sorry, as we say in the States. And this adds to all the conflicts in the world. All the wars in the world are coming out of our mind. And it's just a mistake. The ego is what attacks us, the ego is what attacks others.
Yeah.
And that's the part of our mind that we want to melt away. Because when you melt that away, what's left is the Tao, is what's left is the Holy Spirit. And you know you're innocent and you're powerful and you've come to help the world. But it can start by you giving up your self attack, from which all attack is coming from. Could you imagine taking that self attack um, to the altar of truth? All your self attack, putting it on the altar of truth. And what happens when truth hits illusions? What happens to the illusion?
Yeah, it dissolves, of course. It's heavy. It was a heavy load and it dissolves. Um, and something angelic is coming up.
Who's an innocent girl?
I am.
Who's a happy woman?
Everybody's.
Yeah, because when you have it, when you have this, which is a form of self-love, it's so full, you want to share it. There's a line in the Course in Miracles that goes something like this. It's God is so full of love, he just has to share it. And actually, that's how we were created, just like him. But we have layers and layers of ego on top of it and mistakes we've made in our desire to be separate, as if that would make us happy. See, we thought independence, if you look at every trauma, and I have looked at tens of thousands of traumas, under every one is the desire to be independent. The Course in Miracles calls it the secret story underneath all of our problems and traumas and everything. So one thing an illness does is it says, well, you're over there and I'm over here. Nobody can help me. I'm helpless here. I'm a victim. And it just locks this in. But that's not heaven's plan. Heaven's plan is we just learn the lesson, correct the mistake, and everything changes. And who's God's child?
I am, you are, everybody's.
What do you deserve as God's child?
The best.
The best.
Golden life.
This is true entitlement. When we have a problem, like let's say an illness, like let's go back to the bladder problem. Um, what did you feel entitled to that you didn't get? So now your bladder was complaining
Unconditional love.
that you were entitled to unconditional love. Except our false entitlement, which is the ego, leads to demands and expectations.
Mhm.
So your bladder's going, I want unconditional love, but don't come near me.
Ah!
So, we're caught in a conflict with any illness. We're caught in a conflict.
What?
Part of you want
Sorry.
part part of you wants health, but part of you wants independence.
Yeah. Mhm.
Part of you wants attention,
Mhm.
but part of you wants independence.
Mhm.
So, when you do get the attention and the healing, and the very word the Greek word therapeutic, um, which is in Greek, it's therapeutikos, means to attend to.
Mhm. Mhm. Mhm.
So, but we're trying to be separate and be independent at the same time. It's like one leg's going in one direction and the other leg's going in another direction. Your poor hoo-ha. Yeah. And that's the kind of state we're in when we have all these different things. We have all these layers. So there's this entitlement we have. We have this fantasy about how it should be, and we're disappointed.
Mhm.
And when we're heading in a death direction, it's because we've had a shattered dream.
Mhm.
But a shattered dream hides what was meant to be a life lesson, a soul lesson. And as you get a soul lesson, you become more whole, you become more peaceful, you become more pure, you become more powerful. Yippee.
Mhm.
But otherwise, there's a split. I mean, we live in a world of duality. Let's talk about your relationship a moment. How much do you want love?
80%.
How much do you not want love?
20, obviously.
Well, it doesn't always add up, by the way. I've heard 80 and 80, actually.
Okay. Even better. Okay. Mhm.
So if you take your 20% and you take it away from the 80% that want love. At best, you have 60% that wants love,
Yeah.
but you have a split mind. You're in conflict, and all conflicts like that generate fear.
Mm.
And you want love, but you have fear.
Mm. Yeah.
So let's have Christ and his oneness
Mhm.
come between I want love, I don't want love, and let him melt all the forms away with his light. How's that feel?
Mm. Purity actually comes, it feels pure, very
Yeah,
pure. Mhm.
that's how you were created. That's a place where you recognize you are light.
Mhm.
Okay, so what's been a chronic problem in your life? It might be health, might be something else. Doesn't matter.
I think everything we have been talking about. Yeah, being a girl, being a woman.
But that's the good part.
Yeah, I know, but this struggling with,
Okay.
yeah.
Okay. So now what I have found, and I learned this about, a dozen to 15 years ago, and I start working with this area. There's an area deep in the mind, and I call it bad attitude.
Mhm.
And I discovered it working with people with catastrophic illness, that there's this layer in the mind that is misery, tantrum, a shtick, uh, a bad attitude, obstinate, stubborn, incorrigible, all these layers. And underneath those, there's just the fear of change. And underneath that, there is this vicious circle of something I want to get in the world that will meet my fantasies. That's also called an idol, a false god.
Mhm.
And that leads to a shadow dream and pain. And that leads to a grievance. And that leads to belief systems or self concepts that make up our prisons and our limits. So, and that's a vicious circle that's always going around.
Mhm.
And then it goes on deeper. There's the um, fear of life and wanting to die.
Mhm.
So it's all tied up into, but underneath that, what I found is there is the part of the mind that existed before we took on bodies.
Yeah. Mhm.
And I and several other people, holy people, have called it the astral.
Mhm.
And it's where we were seeking separation from oneness from God. And it wasn't just we fell once, we kept falling and it got darker and it got excruciatingly painful the more we separated. Yet at each juncture, we were saying, okay, do you want to separate and go, jump off the cliff? Or do you want to have this gift and a new layer of light? We kept ah, jumping off the cliff and separating. And it was so excruciatingly painful that we had to dissociate it. We had to fragment those pieces of our mind, which are very powerful pieces of our mind. In the old days, you know what they called those fragmented pieces of the mind? Demons, devils. In Asia, they called them dark gods. Mm. But they're really just us. They're really just parts of our ego, and they want to come home to mommy. And but we seem to be attacked
Mhm.
because we haven't forgiven these pieces. We haven't learned to integrate these pieces. But now, okay, so here you have this big thing about being a woman. Mm. Now, notice that even though you're a woman, you still see yourself superior to men, right?
Yeah, yeah. Mhm.
And then in terms of women and men, or you and your partner, who has to win? Who's the winner chicken dinner?
Yeah, has to win. Man win, but woman should win.
That's still going on inside you. Yikes. And once you go for winning, you have a vicious circle of winning and losing. And you're caught in the ego's need for competition. Who's better?
Mm. Yeah.
And you go, I am, but I'm not. To see you're getting pulled apart here. Now, so this is down at that chronic level.
Mm.
How much of the astral is feeding into that chronic problem?
80 and 800.
That's a lot of darkness to keep you stuck.
Mhm.
And that ancient ego just doesn't want things to change, wants to keep things exactly the same because it has existence in this illusionary world. Okay, so let's call in the big guns. Let's call in Jesus and Mary.
Yes.
And let's take them down to that chronic problem of which basically comes out when you want to win. It's because you're trying to prove you're not inadequate and you deserve to be the winner, chicken dinner. But it's based on this fact that you don't have value.
Mm. Yeah, yeah. Mm.
There is a quote from A Course in Miracles, which says, Christ will offer all, beautiful and equal in their holiness to the Father, as they were offered unto him. There is one miracle, and that is oneness. That is we're all one. That is we're all light. We're all as we were created. So, but anyhow, Jesus and Mary, they reach oneness. They know this. They bring their light and their miracles, their power into this chronic area.
Wow.
And their light is able to find every tendril of darkness of the astral and to bring their love and their light through those tendrils back to the astral itself, bringing the light to where the light don't shine. It's the second area to where the light don't shine. Like this. And they bring their light into the astral.
I
How
did
much
yawn.
that's a sure sign the astral's around. You start yawning. And so this light, this love comes in there. How much of it just gets washed away as mistake?
800%. The,
Yippee!
yeah, light river flowing through me. So much freedom, and
Who's an innocent girl?
I am, and everybody is.
Right. Yeah. Is Christ in oneness? Is Mary in oneness? Is Buddha in oneness? Kuan Yin in oneness? So are they in you?
Yeah.
Absolutely, they're in you. And the more you call on them for help, and so you're not looking outside yourself to get your needs met, which don't ever fully get met. Let's say, well, our biggest need is food. Okay. Our biggest addiction. But let's go to sex. Okay. So you have a great celebration, a great slippery celebration at night. But how long is it before you want more?
Yeah. Instantly.
Yeah. Well, there's the morning when you wake up, there's a nooner, there's an afternoon delight, and there's the evening again. And you're trying to fulfill this need that actually, because of this separation, this split mind, you can't be fully fulfilled. So all of our addictions, are like in AA, in Alcoholics Anonymous, they say, all the drinking is just seeking God in a bottle. We're in sex, you're just seeking God.
Mm.
We're seeking oneness, but oneness is inside us because we were created that way. But we want to have some fun in this illusionary world, except all of our dreams get dashed and shattered, and then we're disappointed and we want to die.
That's it.
And that's not heaven's plan for us. Heaven's plan is we are entitled as a child of God to have it all. And what this life is about, this crazy world, God didn't create this world. How can you blame that on him? Jesus said, by their fruits you will know them. God's not insane. He didn't he didn't make we made this world. It's a projection of our minds. That's what I found, 3 decades ago, 3.5 decades ago. So we're here to learn, to know ourselves, to find the way home. And the best thing is we can do it together. And we can do it by seeing everyone as innocent. In the Course of Miracles, it says the Holy Spirit sees people's actions as just love or a call for love. So if we get into that frame of mind and look back on it, like our parents, we have grievances against our parents. They didn't give me this or they didn't do this for me. Well, they would have if they could have. As a parent, you want to do everything for your kids. But if you don't have it, you can't give it. But that's when you call on heaven's help. But then we hold our parents hostage to our old needs and what they didn't give us. But what I found after years of doing this work is that we came to give it to them. We were the one that was the gift. We were privileged. I want you to give it to me, and I want you to do it right on time and this way. And of course, that leads to real chaos, havoc in relationships, because we carry from our families, we carry that on to our partners. So it's like how to get ourselves back, how to know ourselves, how to find the gifts. We have thousands of gifts inside us. Just and each problem we have. Okay, give me a small problem we have.
No, nothing's coming to my mind now. I'm problemless.
Ah, it's a miracle.
American, definitely.
Okay,
Yeah.
let's go back to this original one
Mhm,
of the wrestling with being a woman.
mhm,
Okay. So under every problem, there's a gift. So imagine Mother Mary holding you with comfort and taking you beyond this problem down below in your mind to where the gift is, that is the total resolution of this problem.
Holiness.
Holiness.
Wow.
Just feel that, dwell with that, embrace that,
Mm,
because your holiness, you know, gets you in touch with the wholeness that is God and his oneness.
okay. It's not about being a woman or a man.
Right. Um, the last ditch before we reach heaven, before we're in total oneness, that is said to happen is the integration of yin and yang, the feminine element, the masculine element.
Mm,
See, the dynamic between the feminine and the masculine, between yin and yang, is that they're creating all kinds of energy, and it's the energy that keeps this universe moving. But in the last step, they finally come together in wholeness, in holiness. And then there's no dynamic, there's no conflict, there's no illusion, there's no story. It's just yippee. It's just bliss. It's just joy. It's just, that happiness that goes on, the light that goes on forever, the great rays. And there's no difference between you and the great rays, between you and heaven, between you and God. It's us all one.
Very beautiful. Thank you.
And that's what we're evolving toward. That's what we're learning, how to get these illusions, these needs, these dependencies, these independence, this sacrifice out of the way so we can partner with heaven and be God's child, entitled as God's child, not as an ego.
Yeah. Let's send this out to the world, all those gifts. Thank you, Chuck.
Want to do one more? Just
Okay. Of course.
okay. So the subconscious mind. Now, there's only two minds, the ego and the higher mind. Okay. But, to work with it, I've found that it's helpful to we have our conscious mind. The subconscious mind is everything from conception to the present.
Mhm.
Okay. The unconscious mind is all of our soul patterns. It's the depths of the mind. It's our past lives. It's what's passed down ancestrally. It's all the other interesting things that most people find scary. And then there is the astral, which we've already described, the falls before we took on a body. Our body says, we're really separate because you're over there and I'm over here. Right. And they might get together on a Saturday night, but Sunday morning we're back apart. Yeah. So anyhow, um, pick out a nice juicy problem, health problem, say.
It's problem. Uh, yeah. Mhm.
Okay. And now sink down with, you can go do this with angels. You could do this with Mother Mary. You could do this with Kuan Yin, anybody. And go down into your subconscious. What's it look like in the subconscious because of this problem?
Uh, Dark. There's darkness. It's darkness.
And now let's go into the soul mind,
Mhm.
your mind through time. What's it look like down there?
It looks like hell. Hell
Mhm.
world. It's fire and everybody running around and hellish.
Mhm. And now let's go down to the astral. What's it look like down there?
Um, a bit similar like the before, but um, feels more. It's more dangerous. Feels more dangerous.
Let the angels take you down into eternity where you are pure light and love as spirit. How's it feel here?
Yeah. Mhm. It's a relief. It's like another dimension. It's relieved, just pure and sweet.
And now let's go down to your oneness with heaven, with God, with Christ, with Mother Mary. Just the one. And now let's bring this back up to you as spirit, limitless spirit. And now let's bring this to the astral. What happens to the astral when you bring this to it?
It's kind of sucked in into the light. It disappears.
And now we move this up into the unconscious mind, the soul mind. What happens to that level?
Light bomb, explosion of light and love.
And then you move it up into your subconscious, your personal life. What happens there? The light of your spirit.
Peace, just very peaceful.
And now you bring it up into your everyday life, your conscious mind.
There's a party going on. Joy and party.
Yippee!
It was nice. Thanks.
Yeah, good work. Good work.
Thank you. Oh,
Okay.
there's someone coming. Thank you, Jack. Thank you so much
Mhm. Mwah.
for watching. See you soon.
Give Chris my love. Just
Thank you. I will. Thank you.
okay.